The Eurozone's merry-go-round of bailouts can continue. Germany's federal court rules the new €500 billion rescue fund is legal and Berlin can join. The Eurozone's powerhouse is crucial for funneling cash to failing economies and containing the crisis. RT's Peter Oliver reports.
By rejecting a complaint against the European Stability Mechanism, a €500 billion pot, what they've said is that they can be signed into German law. Now, they did say that comes with some conditions, though. The maximum amount that Germany will be able to put in is €190 billion. Now, if they want to put in any more than that, they're going to have to go to the Bundestag, and there's going to have to be a vote on it. Also, both houses of the German Parliament are going to have to be kept up to date with exactly what that money is being spent on. It's a political success for Angela Merkel. She backed this system wholeheartedly, and of course she's got an election coming up next year. She couldn't afford any major embarrassments. However, the fact that it has to go through a vote in the Bundestag and that the amount has been capped could mean that she faces a few internal problems inside the German Parliament if they want to try and increase the amount of money Germany's going to give to those failing economies in the rest of the Eurozone. That €500 billion pot, that's not infinite. It's not a bottomless pit of cash. What happens if other countries fall by the way? At the moment, we're seeing Greece needing that bailout money desperately. What happens if all of that bailout money, or too much of that bailout money, spent on Greece and, say, countries like Italy or Spain slip further into the economic mire? Does that mean that there's just simply no cash left for them? In terms of Greece, though, I say they will be quite happy to hear that this has gone through, but there's a huge meeting taking place in the country on Wednesday. Now, that is a meeting between the heads of the coalition, the ruling coalition government there. They have problems. They can't decide how they're going to make the huge, over $10 billion worth of budget cuts. They can't decide how they're going to do that without hurting the Greek people too much. So it could end up, if they can't make those cuts, all of this decision in Germany might have fallen by the wayside, because the bottom line is, if Greece doesn't cut, they don't get bailout money, whatever the German Constitutional Court's ruled.
Right, let's now talk to risk consultant John Halsman, who joins us from Rothenburg in Germany. Now, he's going to shed some light on the story. Now, good to see you there, Mr. Halsman. Can struggling Eurozone nations breathe a sigh of relief now? I mean, that they know they will continue getting rescue cash. Can they be relieved?
Well, I mean, in a sense, yes. I think Peter's report got it on the head. Last time I spoke to you, I said, look, the court's going to say yes. There's no way they'll say no. It would destroy the euro and we'd be in global depression. They're not going to say no. The key has always been the fine print. And as Peter pointed out, the fine print here is really telling. The Germans are storing up hostages to fortune. They're going to need more than the €500 billion because Italy and Spain, to some extent, certainly Spain, will need a bailout. Greece probably will need a third bailout. And then you have to go back to the Bundestag because the court capped German liability at €190 billion. Sounds like a lot of money. Frankly, it's not, given the money they're going to need. And at some point, somebody in the Bundestag is going to get up and say, this is madness. We can no longer pay for the rest of Europe. So yes, they jumped one hurdle, but it's a very long race.
So effectively, the court has endorsed the cycle of debt and bailouts in the Eurozone. Is this really the way forward?
Well, they did and they didn't. Typical court ruling, typical European court ruling, they said everything up to now is fine, but they also said there can be no unlimited liability, meaning this can't go on forever, that we don't say ad infinitum, we're going to bail out everyone else in Europe. If you look today, the Dutch are going to vote, even though they're going to elect a vaguely pro-European coalition in the end. More and more hostages to fortune there. They've said flat out the Greeks don't get another euro from us. The Germans say we're not going to pay more than $190 billion without going back to our people. You're beginning to see these points of friction coming up more and more and more often, and as they do, eventually you're going to have the problem to deal with totally donor-weary supporters in the north. And so I think that there's still a long way to go in this crisis because they haven't solved the ultimate problem. These countries in the south remain on life support. The countries in the north are going to have to pay for them forever. Until you get economic productivity on the table, we're just throwing plates in the air.
Mr. Halsman, the conditions imposed by the court mean Germany can't continue funneling cash to its neighbors indefinitely. What happens if an economy as big as Italy runs out of money?
Well, that's it. Italy and Spain. Greece is a minnow. It's 2% of the Eurozone. Italy and Spain are serious places. There is no doubt that Spain is going to need more money. Italy, under a very good leadership of Prime Minister Monti, is hoping to avoid it. But if Spain goes in for a full bailout beyond their bank bailout of the 100 billion euro, you add in the Greek totals, as Peter pointed out, you're simply going to run out of money. And then you have to go back to a very angry German populace represented by their parliament and say, okay, we were wrong. We were kidding. We need more money. Then you've got more court challenges and, more importantly, more political challenges. The Finns say maybe Greece should leave the euro. They are a contributor. The Dutch say, you know, maybe we're not for more European integration if our pension money has to be cut. You're beginning to see a group of people in the north say we need limits on what we do. At the very moment, the countries in the south say we need more money. They're storing up a world of hurt for the future.
I mean, not everybody is happy with these bailouts. Some 37,000 people signed a petition asking the court to block the permanent bailout fund and bring the decision to a referendum. How are the German taxpayers taking the court's decision? Just briefly.
I think at the moment they're going to put up with it. But as you say, if you look at the numbers, 2/3 of Germans want to stop paying for the rest of Europe. And that is a huge hostage to fortune Chancellor Merkel is storing up for the future.
Okay, right. We're going to leave it right there. Mr. John Houseman, risk consultant here on RT, giving us his thoughts on this.
Thanks.
Thank you.